Are we witnessing the end of porn, or is the government just clamping down on its critics? This generation has no idea how crazy it is to have porn so accessible. I was a teenager in the 90s. Porn was like gold dust. It would be handed down from older cousins, but the best bits would be stuck together. Or a jazz mag would magically appear in a bush in a layby like some sort of biblical message. Now porn is available on literally every single device in my house, and it's having a huge impact on the younger generation. Young women report feeling pressured to keep their bodies absolutely flawless, have sex with more men than they feel comfortable with, do things purely for the man's sexual pleasure, and there are probably some downsides as well that I can't see. And Onlyfans has led to an arms race in online whoring, with women like Bonnie Blue and Lilly Phillips competing to do the most outrageous things. One of them is sex with 100 men, then another is sex with 1,000 men. This can only happen in Britain, by the way, because people here just love standing in a queue. She probably only had 3 guys booked in, and then English guys were like, "Ooh, a queue, don't mind if I do. Oh, this must be a good queue, everyone's got a boner." Are they taking it a little bit too far? Bonnie Blue announced a petting zoo event in which she would be tied up naked inside a glass box, driven around London with the goal of letting 2,000 random men have sex with her. This is so dangerous. I mean, this is London. That glass box is going to get stolen, and never mind STDs, you're going to catch dengue fever and Ebola. Bonnie Blue was banned from Onlyfans for this, but even hyper-liberal countries like Sweden have banned Onlyfans. Could the rest of the West follow? Here in Britain, the government is taking steps to restrict porn by forcing people to verify their age and controlling posts on social media, but it's using this as a cover to police what people say, with an elite police unit set up specifically to monitor anti-immigrant comments online, empowered by these new supposedly child safety laws. If the government was so concerned about child safety, then maybe at the same time as it restricts porn, it could restrict the flow of thousands of men from violent misogynistic cultures and stop housing these men in hotels near families and schools. Ironically, some of these refugees were actually revealed to be making porn for OnlyFans themselves in their taxpayer-funded hotels. Hey, everyone deals with the trauma of fleeing a war zone in their own way, and if the government really cares about child safety, maybe they could stop putting adult migrants in school classrooms because the migrants are pretending to be children to stay here. I mean, look at this guy. I've seen more authentically young people on Beverly Hills 90210. Instead of making checks more rigorous for illegal migrants claiming to be children, the government has relaxed the rules, making it easier for fully grown men from God knows where to go into British schools. And as for this elite police unit for anti-migrant posts, literally the same day the government announced it, allegations were revealed that a policeman in Rotherham was in one of the Pakistani Muslim child rape gangs. This is PC Hassan Ali. Oh, that classic British name. Hooray for diversity hiring. It's our greatest strength, apparently. I think I trust the average native UK gooner more than I trust the government and its apparatchiks. The government's arguments for child safety make no sense.
For everybody who's out there thinking of using VPNs, let me just say to you directly, verifying your age keeps a child safe, keeps children safe in our country. So let's just not try and find a way around. Just prove your age, make the internet safer for children, make it a better experience for everyone. That's surely what we should aspire to in this country.
So me verifying my age keeps a child safe. Could somebody explain how that works? It's all a bit of a change from the days when British politicians would watch porn movies and put them on their expenses for the taxpayer to pay, and then have to apologise when they were caught.
Home Secretary Jackie Smith and her husband have apologised following another controversy over MP's expenses. She said she had mistakenly submitted an expenses claim which included the cost of 2 pay-per-view adult films which were watched at her family home.
Today's sources said her husband will be on the sofa for a while, despite issuing a sheepish apology.
I am really sorry for any embarrassment I have caused Jackie. I can fully understand why people might be angry and offended by this. Quite obviously, a claim should never have been made for these films. And as you know, that money is being paid back.
And the government wants us to hand over scans of our passports and driving licenses to dodgy porn sites who are obviously going to sell them on to every dodgy data broker they can find. I can guarantee that if you do upload your documents to a porn site, within a fortnight your personal details will have been used to get a mortgage in Romania. Before I dig into the government censorship and hypocrisy, what can you do if you still want to see boobies and have a fumble, but you don't want to hand over your personal ID to some dodgy website that probably won't treat that scan of your passport with respect. I mean, look how they treat the women. Also, what if you want to use the internet to share memes or say what you think, but you don't want to go to jail because your totalitarian government, like mine, locks people up for jokes and opinions? Well, you can use a VPN. That's a virtual private network. Like Surfshark, it's an app and browser extension that places your device in another place on Earth, and there's a link to it right here. It masks your IP address so the UK age restriction won't work, because the site will think you're in a civilized country that trusts its citizens, like America, so you can just waltz right in and watch some lesbians going hard at it, instead of sending your personal ID scans into the ether to be shared with who knows who. Ooh, but VPNs don't really protect you. If the government requests logs, then the VPN has to hand them over. Well, maybe with other VPNs, but Surfshark doesn't keep logs. The whole system runs on RAM, so even if Keir Starmer himself issues a court order for your information, Surfshark can't give it because no data is stored. I'm hoping Surfshark keeps me out of jail, and they'll give you 4 months extra for free. It's risk-free and there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. The real risk is not signing up and then having the cops knock on your door, or some porn website admin take out a loan using your driver's license. I'm not sure the government's new regulations are going to keep young people off porn sites. Teens are probably the people most likely to be tech savvy enough to get around these restrictions. But the true purpose of this legislation clearly has nothing to do with keeping children safe and keeping them off porn sites. I mean, you expect mission creep with legislation, but there was no creep with this. Literally the same day that this act came out, which is supposed to ban porn, legitimate content was blocked because of it. Twitter blocked a live Westminster speech because its profanity filter couldn't verify viewers' ages. To be fair, I can understand why this video would get flagged under a porn ban, because it shows politicians screwing an entire country. Bonnie Blue's got nothing on that. Elsewhere, a Leeds protest video vanished behind the same local laws warning. The Online Safety Act is also used to hide information about grooming gangs preying on children, including censoring posts from victims such as Sammy Woodhouse, as we see here. Ironically, this is information that could protect future victims and bring grooming gang perpetrators to justice, and the government is hiding it on the pretense of protecting children. The government doesn't want to protect children, it wants to protect itself, and it wants to hide the horrific mistakes it's made. There are hundreds of pages of legislation, so lots of British websites are just shutting down rather than spending money on lawyers to ensure compliance. These sites include things like a hamster forum, like actual hamsters, not ex-hamsters, and even more worryingly, sites that offer assistance and advice to victims of domestic violence or abuse are having to restrict themselves, which is putting people in danger, not keeping them safe. The government is also accusing anyone who doesn't like the Online Safety Act of being on the side of Jimmy Savile.
Make no mistake about it, if people like Jimmy Savile were alive today, he'd be perpetrating his crimes online. And Nigel Farage is saying that he's on their side.
I'm sorry.
Not the side of children who are...
I'm going to ask you to clarify. Do you honestly think to say Nigel Farage is on Jimmy Savile's side? It's an interesting extrapolation, but we've got your views on it.
Which is weird because the whole establishment was on the side of Jimmy Savile. He was a star on the state broadcaster, the BBC, and close friends with the royals, and given keys to children's hospitals by our state healthcare provider, the NHS, and given a knighthood by our government. Peter Kyle has confessed to having a reading age of 8, by the way, so as Nick Dixon pointed out, I'm not sure he should be allowed on the internet. And this elite police squad to monitor anti-migrant posts on social media. Oh, it's great that crime is apparently been eliminated in Britain, so there's no need for police to be dealing with the regular stabbings or people forced into hiding by Islamists. Instead, they can focus on tweets. The next time a Welsh choir boy goes on a rampage and the police say, there's nothing we could do. Remember, they could have done something, but they were too busy chasing people down for being angry about the rampages. The Telegraph revealed that officials working for Peter Kyle have flagged videos with concerning narratives to social media giants including TikTok, warning that they were exacerbating tensions on the streets. Emails recovered by a US congressional committee show that civil servants in the UK have complained to tech firms about content mentioning asylum seekers, immigration, and two-tier policing. When people wish to stop dangerous illegal immigration, why is this opinion seen as something to be overcome and changed rather than listened to? This weird idea that the protests are purely because of the angry social media posts. No, people genuinely do not like it when British kids are assaulted by men imported from the Horn of Africa. Africa. Instead of trying to stop the assaults, the government is trying to stop people complaining about them. It's like trying to fix a broken leg by making it illegal to scream. And while the government is clamping down on British people's social media posts about illegal immigration, how about doing something about people traffickers and illegal migrants posting on social media, advertising their journey to Britain, showing how to book a spot on a small boat, and even putting on sales like it's a very Black Friday. And before you say, ooh, the UK is turning into China, I wish the UK was turning into China. China has an authoritarian government, but they at least have the sense to recognise what most people want and try to preserve their legitimacy and run a country for the long-term good of the natives. They monitor social media partly as a way to identify grievances to fix. British people are punished for expressing grievances. In China, they have clear boundaries around speech, whereas British speech laws are unclear and unevenly applied. China promotes national culture centred on their Han identity, whereas Britain suppresses and criminalises native identity. China limits immigration from alien cultures, whereas the British government imposes no limits and in fact encourages people to come here. They have a hardline suppression of Islamism, whereas the British government funds Islamist mosques. And China's government allows people economic freedom to generate wealth, whereas Britain's private sector is increasingly taxed and regulated. And Chinese officials are punished for incompetence. In Britain, incompetence is mandatory. Interestingly, China banned Onlyfans, saying it's a corrupt Western disease, but really it's because of competition for their sex dolls. And as Professor David Betts points out, people always find a way around censorship. In Soviet times, people in the Eastern Bloc wanted to listen to Western music, but it was forbidden. People learned that they could bootleg music onto medical x-rays using hacked phonographs. It became known as bone music because it was on these x-rays. Here in Britain, we have a government which zealously protects itself from scrutiny through super injunctions, while demanding at the same time that it may scrutinise everything people do, however personal or intimate. It's grotesquely unfair, and everyone knows it, and doing it while calling it online safety is also rather Soviet. The B in KGB, after all, translates as safety or security. It's also just dumb. On the one side, we have an incompetent government which struggles to accomplish anything. On the other, millions of hyper-connected people who are highly motivated to get around these controls. Who is going to win is not a hard question to answer. All that is being accomplished here by government is further erosion of trust and legitimacy. More and more people recognise the elite malintent, but also ineptitude. And Professor Betts' analogies with the Soviet Union are totally correct. Under communism, they had laws so vaguely worded that anyone could be seen to have broken them, so the state could pick and choose who to prosecute using them, and everyone lived in fear of them. It's also interesting to see that some people can still have anonymity under this government. 4 Asian men suspected of sexually exploiting a vulnerable teenager have been granted lifelong anonymity after a council abandoned attempts to prevent them from seeing her. Concerns about the safety of the girl, who is white and from Rotherham, peaked in August when she was discovered in a hotel room along with one of the men, alongside vodka, cannabis, condoms and female Asian clothing. If you want to pull your plonker to a MILF getting railed, you can't have anonymity, but the very worst sex criminals in the world get every lever of the state pulled to protect their identity. It's a sick joke. It feels like they're rubbing our face in it. But does the porn ban have a point? I would like to see porn banned, just to see this generation go through the same difficulties as I had to go through and have to masturbate to the Littlewoods swimwear catalogue. We didn't have porn growing up. It was impossible to get hold of. It was on VHS or magazines that were too high for us to grab. Pretty much the only way we could see porn was if we went down to the pub and ordered pub snacks, because pub snacks were mounted on a piece of card with a semi-naked woman on it. And like over the weeks, as people purchased the pub snacks, the naked woman would slowly be revealed bit by bit, like a sort of rudimentary form of internet downloading. So every week you'd get your pocket money, you get that 20 pence, you go down to the bar and you slide it across the bar with shaking fingers, a little boner pinging off the bar, and you'd say, "Could I have a packet of scampi fries, please?" And then you'd be like, "Please take it off the tit, please take it off the tit, please take it off the tit." And then you look up and the barman's taking it off the elbow and you're like, "No!" And now as a result, I can only achieve climax when I'm eating scampi fries and looking at a picture of an elbow, but hey, that's pretty normal for a British guy. And also, porn is driving so many social harms. The gender woo-woo cult is partly driven by young people getting fixated on porn. Our fertility crisis and the thrust of our civilization isn't going to be helped by young men lying around in their goon caves, wanking themselves to dust and spending their salary on some Onlyfans fantasy instead of going out and wooing women in real life. The closest thing these men get to a date is when they pay thousands for a digital experience, like taking an Onlyfans girl on a date on a huge screen in front of them.
She just wants some lemons for her lemonade. You want the biscuits? All right, sweet. Yeah, I'll leave them right there for you. Oh, you got your nails done? Oh, whoa. So you're gonna finish your food and you're not even drinking the ginger ale? Did you start out of passion or did you start in hopes of getting money? I was supposed to have a twin, but I ate him in the womb. Oh, okay. This shrimp is really good. Do you want another mozzarella stick?
Which reminds me, sign up to my Patreon. From as little as £3 a month, you can support me making these videos and get exclusive content, which is the intellectual equivalent of looking up my butthole. Porn is arguably driving bad behaviour in men as well. 75% of women have experienced sexual harassment or catcalling, and 25% of women are too ugly. And because Western porn is watched all around the world, it's spreading a dangerous idea to the thousands of men who flood over our borders every day that white women are insane whores who all like being gangbanged in a warehouse, when really that's probably no more than 60% of them. Look how the grooming gangs refer to their victims as white slags, and it's rolling back women's rights. Anyone can point at Lilly, Phillips or Bonnie Blue and plausibly argue that women's liberation has been a bit of a disaster, that women can't handle the freedoms they've been given. Of course, men do the same sort of thing, but men aren't seen as precious. And will OnlyFans be banned? An MP says women are being coerced by their partners into setting up OnlyFans accounts to pay the bills. I mean, things can get worse than that. My wife coerced me into getting a job to pay the bills, when as a Scot I'd be perfectly happy being unemployed. The economics of OnlyFans is pretty grim, unless you're in the top 0.1% who hoover up more than 3/4 of all the money spent on the site. The top 0.1% make an average of about $150,000 a month, but the other 99.9% of girls would probably be better off getting a job. Half of all the girls on OnlyFans are pulling in just $24 a month. Imagine how dispiriting it must be to put your bumhole on display for the world, and the world is like, yeah, your bumhole is worth $24 a month. I guess that's why there's been an arms race for girls to do more and more debauched things, like Lily Phillips doing 1,000 blokes, or Katie Price with a turd on her stomach. I'm not sharing that image. Or Bonnie Blue, the woman who's been smashed more times than Harvey Price's iPad and her glass box petting zoo. And Katie Price's tummy turd isn't even the worst thing. You never know who's subscribing, if it's someone from your work, your football league, or even if the call is coming from inside the house.
Here is the custom content that my stepdad was requesting on my naughty site. Like I said in a previous video, we messaged every single day on the website and he would make requests almost every single day. One of them was to see the underwear that I was wearing every day. At the time I was working still, so I was out of the house 5 days a week, and he would ask for pictures in the bathroom or the change rooms of wherever I was. He also requested that when I was filming solo content at home that I would not do it in the bathroom or in the shower. He always wanted it to be on my bed or on the floor of my bedroom, which, mind you, he had access to this room every single day. He also was helping out do the washing at home with said underwear.
Most disgusting of all, some women are using OnlyFans to post non-sexual content. Jessie Cave, who portrayed the character Lavender Brown in the Harry Potter films, joined OnlyFans to offer subscribers the best quality hair sounds. Yeah, I know you think it's non-sexual, Jessie, but people are obviously wanking to that. And singer Lily Allen started an OnlyFans account where she posts pictures of her feet. Here's a picture, and says it makes her more money than her Spotify music streams, which probably says more about her music than her feet, to be honest. There are so many women doing OnlyFans, an estimated 280,000 in the UK alone, that I'm actually setting up a service called OnlyFathers. These women can pay me £5.99 a month and I'll appear on Zoom wearing a suit and tie and tell them that I'm proud of their life choices. But regardless of the social harms of porn, we all know that this law isn't being used to protect children. It's being used to cover up the harm that's being done to children by the government's insistence on importing men from violent medieval cultures who see British children as infidels. Online privacy is vital. It allows people to be in an online space free from social pressures, which can do more harm than good. Remember that the grooming gangs got away with their crimes against children because the people who should have been policing them and bringing them to justice were afraid of looking racist. The Online Safety Act is such a self-defeating move for a government that wants to control and monitor people's activity on the internet. Because of it, millions of Brits are signing up to VPNs to get around restrictions on censored content. So now millions more Brits are equipped with a tool that hides their identity and will be much harder to track or prosecute if they decide to engage in activities against the regime. Well done, Sir Keir Starmer. Maybe you should be banned from the internet as the biggest wanker in Britain. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to protect yourself by signing up to Surfshark. If you use my link, you get an extra 4 months free. And remember, they don't keep logs. Everything's held in RAM, so it keeps you safer than other VPNs. And if you want to see me perform live, I'm doing some stand-up comedy shows with Francis Foster at De Hems in London on August the 14th and September the 26th. And I'm doing a solo show at the Attic in Southampton on November the 26th. And if you want to support me making these videos, you can sign up to my Patreon from as little as £3 a month and join a growing community of the only sane people left in the West. And what do you get for £3 these days? Not very much, and you don't get much from me either. Now, I'm moving house this week, so I'll have proper broadband and can do more streaming and podcasts and stuff. Okay, thanks for listening. I've been Leo Keir. Bye. Bye.